Welcome, welcome, welcome to the call, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping you have had a wonderful long weekend. You enjoyed your day off and all of that. And now we are back to hear updates from our CEO. Our CEO is a mom, a grandmom, an author, a co author. She has mentored thousands and has been my mentor since 2006. From that time being a mentor, a leader, she's grown into a close friend and now a family member. I just appreciate and love how her brain works. I appreciate and love how her heart works. And oh my God, I appreciate and love how she works. Without any further ado, I want to bring on Melissa Boston Otoyebe. Melissa?
Hey, Kathy, can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, great. Awesome. I heard music go off, so I think I'm good. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you too. And it's amazing how when you meet the right people and there's this alignment. And as you know, we say all the time, you start off complete strangers. I can remember the day I met you, okay? And just to see our growth in business, our growth as now family, our growth in really just how we've worked together and how you've been there with us every single step of the way to ensure, we stay on target and we crush this thing and go billion-dollar big. So just appreciate you, Kathy, for every sacrifice you make every single day, as our VP of Finance, as an Emerald Director, on your way to Diamond and beyond, okay? 5-star Diamond. Just appreciate and love you so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to just say good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone down in this morning. Oh my goodness, it is Monday morning and definitely have a lot to cover. I do want to just say and stop real quick to pause because I know this morning my husband always turns on Good Morning America. And I was just seeing a lot of the devastation in Texas. So just prayers to everyone impacted, to anyone out there who's lost a loved one. I mean, it's just devastating. And so we want to keep Texas uplifted at this time, in our prayers, because I tell you what, life is so fleeting and we just have to keep our loved ones so close to us. And always when we have a chance to do so, just remember to say what you feel in your heart and, the love that we have. And so for those of you who are joining us for the first time, I know sometimes we do have guests on the line. I want to extend a special welcome to you. Maybe you have just joined our business. And for all of our distributors and top leaders, we want to welcome you back. I know many of you are a part of this call every single Monday. And so you know that Akana means in the hands of God. We believe health, wealth, freedom, and legacy are our birthright. By offering life-changing products and an innovative business, we empower people to elevate to their full potential. Yesterday I woke up to some other sad news as well. Lloyd Tomer, former owner of YTB, I know a few years back, due to health reasons, he actually sold it to one of the other business partners associated with, now they call it Church 365, but he passed away. And I just want to say, in this industry, no matter where you end up in life, you can always remember your beginnings. You always remember those relationships. And I just want to say, yeah, things change and through life, people go their separate ways. But I can remember that his vision really provided the opportunity for me, okay? And for so many of us who were part of that company. And I remember joining, YTB back in 2004. And at the time, just being hopeful, a corporate America executive, never really had major success in network marketing. Prior to joining that company, I was working with DVD Monster and I was the MVP of that company, but it was one of those things where here I am on the website. There's only because I was selling more DVDs than anyone else. I really wasn't making six figures or the big hefty income. So it was really his company that really gave me the first opportunity where I would go out and make multiple six figures. In fact, over $500,000 in one calendar year. And so I joined it in 2004, and I was able to retire. By the time I was 33, I was retired in 2006. I remember to this day the retirement party I had at the Georgian Club in Atlanta. We were on the 17th floor on Success Magazine, so many memories. And again, you just have to give honor where it's due, because it was really his vision that put me on the trajectory to really have the success that I had in the industry of network marketing. And I think when I think about one of the last memories I had when I was actually at his home, and I don't remember what year that was, but I remember I was in his yard. It was a lot of the directors they called to this leadership event. So we were there. Donald Bradley, many of you guys know him, with Planet Marketing, and Spencer Iverson, Floyd Williams, Jerome Hughes. So it was this whole group of people there. And so imagine I'm back there, Donald Bradley is doing monkey flips and I'm doing backflips. And he kept saying, hey, Melissa, do it again. And I'm saying, okay. I kept flipping and flipping because I was a gymnast, self-taught, never took gymnastics. But, you know, again, I was doing these backflips in my 30s, right? So that was already a clue. I should have been doing that. In fact, I was closer to 40. And probably around the 8th or 9th backflip, because we were going down the hill, I actually ended up breaking my arm, okay? And being the competitive person I was, no one knew that I broke my arm. I just kind of went to Jerome and Katrina. They ended up helping me to get to my aunt's. Next day I would go to the hospital to come to find out, yeah, I broke my arm, okay? And then I would go on to keep doing business because I got a sling and, hey, got my hair done in a weave since I couldn't comb it anymore. But it's just the memories, right? And you think about, you know, that's one person, Lloyd Tomer, and he had a vision, and you have this network of people and memories that last forever, right? I mean, good times, bad times, ups and downs. And so again, I wanted to give him honor this morning because his vision of starting a travel company, again, a pioneer, he started the company whenever, I always say, we didn't have the Expedia type website, the Priceline type website. You know, on our website, we could book to Bahamas where we just didn't know how we were going to get back sometimes, right? It was that in the beginning type of business that became such a major, major success in the industry. We would go on to sell billions of dollars of travel, and our lives changed forever, okay? And so, yeah, he passed yesterday in his 90s, so he lived a very rich life. And I know, you know, to my fellow Surge 365 is not what they're called, but that's the name of the company. I know many of the people that I knew back then are still associated with that company. So I've been, you know, back and forth. People have been sending messages, and just a big news in the industry of network marketing because he also was in the Primerica days. He was one of the big, huge income earners back there with A.L. Williams, made millions and millions and millions of dollars. In fact, his son, one of his sons, still earns the residual income from that legacy business. And so, again, that just shows you the power of this industry, why we love this industry so, so much. And speaking of this industry, this month is National Oil Day. And so I don't know if you guys have been in your office shopping yet, but yes, if you spend at least $50, you will get 10% off. And in fact, if you spend $150 this week, you're going to receive a free bottle of Hemp MT along with a 4-pack of Power Gummies, plus you get an additional 5% off. So instead of getting 10%, you're going to get 15%. All of those discounts are automatically. And I will say about the Power Gummies, we do have a new batch in. Same original formula, same original maker who makes those gummies, but it's always fun when a new batch comes in. It's like, oh my goodness, they're just so extra yummy. Okay, so if you are a lover of the Power Gummies, this is the time you want to stock up on them. Because yes, in fact, for those of you who've been waiting for yours patiently, just know that every single order has went out the building. In fact, we've been in the office all weekend long, Saturday, Sunday included. In fact, left last night after midnight. But just know every single order is out the door. There's nothing in the queue. So you don't see your order, you can check in with customer service, but just know they all have been shipped, okay? Also, too, last week we did drop the money from the coaches affiliate commissions that I talked about. In fact, it was $3,500 in extra bonus cash that some of you earned. In fact, it was about 15 of you that actually earned that extra money. And so know that now not only do you see it in your back office, but the money has been dropped into the wallet. So you can actually see the amount in your wallet, and you can make those requests to get those paid out for those of you who want to get that money paid out. So that is always exciting when we can put extra money on the table. Also, too, I will go through Those of you who qualified for CV last month, just know that this month is the last month to get those numbers counted for our upcoming trips to Las Vegas and the top 10 who were taken to Bermuda. So you want to make sure that you absolutely get your CV in this month. In fact, this month, guess what we're going to do? We're actually giving you an incentive for when you actually hit your 500. Instead of getting 50 points, you're going to get, guess what, extra points. And so you're going to get 100 points. Silver, you're going to get the 200 points. So it's going to really help take you guys over the top. So this month, every person who's hearing my voice, if you want to get your foot in the door and get to Las Vegas or be in the top 10 for Bermuda, this is the month you do not want to miss, okay? Because you will be getting double for your trouble, okay? And so with that being said, I know this week, Angie Dickerson, she actually is a part of a group called the Boston Rhythm Writers, as seen on Good Morning America. Well, guess what? They're going to be in Chicago this week. And I have heard through the grapevine that we have Iola, Terry Anderson, Meridian. They're going to be hosting this awesome booth with Angie there at this phenomenal event that's happening on Friday and Saturday. And so those of you who are plugged into that, you want to make sure you support the Boston Rhythm Writers, because they go around and do line dancing all over Boston, but also all around the country. And so that's going to be an exciting show this weekend that you do not want to miss. I know there's tickets available on their website. And speaking of events, we do have another Battle of the Blood Types coming up on July 19th. We're going to start this one at 11 a.m. and go to 2 p.m. You can go get your ticket on Eventbrite. We posted all the links out there on social media. So if you've not seen it yet, make sure you get with your upline support leader so that you can find out all about that next event, and make sure you not only get your ticket, but you get your tickets for your guest, okay? So we want to see you in the place, because this time we are going to pack it out to capacity. Also, too, I want to give a special announcement that on Tuesday, I have a special call that I'm going to do after our coaching call with our 360 certified at 8 p.m. And I'm going to go over what that is now. Many of you know, 12 years ago, I released a book called Proverbs Diet. It was the wellness plan that really was something exciting. It was one of the first books I did, pretty much by myself. And then I had someone who came in and helped me. But I had, spent time writing this book, wrote 400 pages, and he came in and said, listen, it's too long. You got to simplify it. And so I ended up publishing the book with Bill Thurston. And so grateful for him. But that was just my first real journey in doing a book in its entirety. I've been a co-author before, in fact, a best-selling co-author, but never really doing a book to that magnitude, okay? But back then, I really wanted to leverage that book because it was a word given to me. I was actually in Chicago, and I had the Bible in front of me, and it was a specific scripture, Proverbs 4:23, that came to, and I always say it was a gift of God, right? It was sitting there, and as I was reading that scripture, above all else, guard thy heart, because it determines the course of your life. And, knowing in that particular scripture, King Solomon was referring to the mind. Like, our mind is really what's going to dictate, our decisions in life. It's going to dictate what we eat. And so we got to guard our mind. But that scripture would launch a book, okay? And that book was Proverbs Diet. And so back then, we actually had Proverbs lifestyle coaches. I know Kathy was one of them, Gigi, Stephanie Lee, Beverly Blair, Larice, Phyllis. I mean, it was amazing how that was something we did then. And then if we look today and see, we're doing the wellness coaches, but the difference is we don't have a book, right? And what was exciting about having the book then is it allowed our wellness coaches, we had a specific PowerPoint that would take them into the churches. So I would get into some of the biggest churches. In fact, I got an invitation from the Seventh-day Adventists. And at the time, I really didn't know their magnitude. Like, if I would have known then what I know now, oh my goodness, I would have actually done what they requested. But one of the top leaders of the Seventh-day Adventists that got a hold of my book, read my book while they were on an airplane. And they were so impressed because he said, at first, he had never read a book from its entirety from beginning to end on an airplane. And so he loved it. And he says, can I make it a comic book? And I'm like, a comic book? I'm thinking I'm making this book because I wanted to help support my team, to tell my own story, to get it out there so that we can help empower people to live better, but also to get supplements that can help them. And so the book really was a resource guide for our team to go out there and connect with churches, get bookings, do seminars, and it really helped us to build this community within the faith-based community. It was so powerful, okay? And so 3 years ago, I was thinking I could just kind of simplify this by doing a recipe book. And some of you, okay, you submitted recipes, and we were going to just do this recipe book, okay? Well, guess what? We're still going to do a recipe book that has not fully manifested yet. But what has manifested, and this is why I want to do the Zoom call tomorrow, is something hit me one day. It just hit me. And I got up and I was writing. It was, started at like 3 a.m. I was writing. And then I was writing. Before I knew it, I had 4 chapters. By the next day, I had 8 chapters. And guess what I did in a matter of a few days? And that just shows you what sometimes can take years to do. When God is ready for you to give birth to something, you can do in days what really should take years, okay? So in a matter of 3 days, I had all these chapters done, okay, for the second edition that had been on my heart. In fact, when I first wrote the Proverbs Diet, I talked about a second edition, but it never came out. And so guess what? The second edition is done. And I'm going to talk about how that's going to help each and every one of you on this line. Because at the end of the day, when we really think about where we're at with blood types, one of the things we must do, and we must do it quickly, is we have to position ourselves as the authority. When you think about it, we're the only company right now talking about this to this magnitude with all these success stories. But now we know that it's hit medical school, right? We know that at some point, this is going to be norm. And we always say in the beginning, people are going to laugh, right? And before long, it's kind of like, wow, they're going to look at you and say, I wish I would have thought about that. I wish that was my idea. Well, guess what, folks? That was our idea. And so why we need a tool is we want to give you something that's going to help you get in front of every pastor, every mega church, to create a media kit behind this that's going to help you to really condense time frames. So this month, guess what we're dropping? We're dropping something so special, so exciting, and it's the Proverbs Diet Power in the Blood, okay? And for those of you who did submit for the recipe book, if you do want us to pick one of your favorite recipes that we can put in this as well, hey, guess what? We'll do that. Otherwise, we will keep it moving because we have completed the book. But I know some of you who did submit recipes include Willie Mooney, Carol Palmer, Diana Coleman, Jacinta Frederick, Beatrice Foster, Kathy Weathersby, Tracy Bolton, Anaya Rogers, of course, myself, Dr. Betty. So those are some of the ones who actually submitted recipes. So the recipe book, that will be the second edition. But if you want to get one of your recipes in this, I'm happy to do that. So definitely email me so that I'll know that you're on board with that. We also have a contribution from Dr. Prince, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Betty. So this is going to be so epic because not only do we have our naturopath, but medical doctors supporting this. I mean, I'm telling you what, folks, this is truly exciting. And so on Tuesday, what I want to do is go through the book with you. I want to get you as excited and as fired up as I am, because can you imagine when we launch something that will be a bestseller? I'm telling you right now, done it before, know how to do it. This is going to be a bestseller. It's going to be a New York Times bestseller. It's going to put us on the map, okay? It's going to be an Amazon blood type bestseller and all the other bestsellers tied into that. But chapter 1 is suicidal, right? It talks about how we're eating ourselves to death. It talks about reversing diabetes and what they're not telling us, okay? Chapter 2 talks about power in the blood, why your blood type matters, how your blood type impacts your health, digestion, and immune system, the cost of eating against your blood type. Chapter 3, really paints the vision of how blood types evolved In fact, it has some beautiful artwork. You know, we have a picture of a black Noah on Noah's Ark with the animals 2 by 2, talking about God's original plant-based design, but how the great flood and the temporary introduction of meat was allowed. It was permitted. Chapter 4 is God's pharmacy, and it really opens up Proverbs framework and how you know God is leading this charge, guys, is when you look at Proverbs, right? Proverbs back in 2013 was 8 resources. And at the time, I called P protein, R, right, carbohydrates, and O was oils and fats. And then it went on and on and on, right? Today, when we think about where we're at and the life we live, we think about P is plant-based because that's our focus. When we think about R, it's raw. We focus on raw eating. O, omega-3 and other oils. V, vitamins and minerals. E, enzymes. R is rest. B is blood type. And S is supplements. Is that not amazing? I mean, this is 12 years ago, and today it fits exactly what we're doing. And I call that alignment. That is powerful. And in this book, we don't try to sell our products because you don't want to do that. You want to educate. So we're going to go through all the ingredients. It talks about the bitters. It talks about, the dandelion leaf, right? It goes through all the different things that we offer: moringa, ashwagandha, wheatgrass, black seed oil. So every supplement that you would want to have your guests and your customers to learn about, they can learn about it in the supplements area of the book. It's going to teach them these ingredients and why it's important to cleanse. It's going to talk about things that we might not sell, like vitamin D, methylfolate. So it's a well-rounded tool to really help us have the resource. And the resource is what Proverbs, because if we can remember that acronym, those 8 resources, and if we use that as a guidepost, that will help us to live the life, right, where it's going to allow us to have the wellness we need to fulfill our purpose. Chapter 5 discusses cleansing the temple and why the time is now to detox. Chapter 6 is Chew-alicious. And in the Chew-alicious chapter, it talks about choosing life with every bite. So it really breaks the myth that, eating healthy is boring, because these are some phenomenal recipes that taste amazing, but it's also a biblical reminder of how one bite changed everything. If you take it back to the beginning, guys, one bite changed everything. And today we're still choosing to take that one bite, right? We're eating from the tree of death, pretty much, right? Not the tree of life. And so, again, just exciting recipes. Even we found one that we're now using with the vegan burger, where we use the pulp from our juices, okay? I mean, just so many cool recipes, guys. Chapter 7 is where we make a decision, right? That's the diet chapter. And diet stands for decide, incorporate, educate, and transform. Chapter 8 tells the story. In fact, it's called We Rise, Stories of Resilience, Mind-Blowing Testimonials. Chapter 9 is the top 50 list, so we can eat with confidence and live with purpose. And so this book is a labor of love. It's something that's 12 years in the making, okay? But it is super exciting because I believe this is the time, and you have to strike things at the right time. And I want to give a special thanks to Tracy Bolton. Had some computer issues, and I could not have gotten it done without having certain resources that just, again, teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you, Tracy Bolton. Thank you, Mama D. Thank you, Dolores Irvin. I know you're listening in. She's actually provided some computer support for me this week as we're wrapping it up. I'm telling you what, this is what we need. We need the village, right? The village is what it's about. And so now, just to give you another exciting component on it, back in 2013, when the Seventh-day Adventists asked me to write a comic book, right? That's what they asked me, can you make this a comic book? And I'm thinking, a comic book. I didn't build this to make a comic book. I wrote this just to build our own network marketing business. So they said, can you do this comic book? Didn't do the comic book. It didn't make sense to me. But again, if I would have known then what I know now, that, oh my God, the Seventh-day Adventists, they're a blue zone, right? If you go to Loma Linda and you wonder why that's a blue zone, it's because of the Seventh-day Adventists. So can you imagine if the Proverbs diet was a comic book they've been used? I mean, oh my God, that's so game over. Well, guess what? I finally decided I went to my favorite friend, ChatGPT, and I asked, should I do a comic book or what would that be? And ChatGPT was like, oh my God, absolutely. That would get you inside of many churches around the world. It would establish Akana as a leader in the blood type movement globally. I mean, it was just exciting what ChatGPT had to say about it. So let me just tell you this. On Tuesday, when I go through the book, I'm going to also go through the comic book that we've created. So yes, we have a comic book, because when you really think about how people learn, especially kids, right? People want things in entertaining ways. They want to get it in bite-sized pieces. And so if you want to meet Pastor Proverbs, if you want to attend and come and be a part of and see, because you don't want to be a part of it, but you can watch it, Chuaside City, okay? Because Chuaside City is where the comic book takes place. And, we got the drugstores lined up, the fast foods, the kids on their tablets eating junk food, right? So Chuaside City. And then we have the blood type superheroes, okay? Yes, we have blood type superheroes like Captain O, okay? And the Garden Guardian, which is blood type Sister A. We got Brother B, which is the balance builder. So I'm telling y'all, this thing is so next level. It's about to help us to get this concept around the world really, really fast and really spread this blood type movement. And it's our time, guys, okay? It is our time. It is our season. As I have 3 more minutes left, okay? I want to wrap it up because I know that, when we think about the children of Israel in Egypt, many of us can relate to the fact that this has been the story of our lives, right? Working tirelessly, much harder than what it shows on the surface, and then boom, everything changes. And the fact when J. Lloyd Tomer passed yesterday, it really hit home because he represented a season for me in which I was in that desert, but then everything changed, right? Single mom, struggling, paycheck to paycheck, and then boom, my network marketing business exploded. I was invited to be a part of their Super 7, MVP of that company in front of 18,000 people on stage, earning income that I could have never dreamed of before that, right? Over $500,000 in one calendar year. And so that season closed for me, okay? But guess what? We're now embarking on a brand new season, and just know every season comes to an end, but then a new season opens up, okay? And so I just feel that the season we've been through over the last few years, this season of struggle is actually came to an end. It's done, okay? Because every day we already feel the load has been lifted, okay? Every day. And so now that we have our book, our comic book, this movement, I'm telling you what, there's this new season of clarity, of healing, of freedom. And just like the children of Egypt, okay, the children of Israel leaving Egypt, okay, we are stepping out of bondage and into promise, okay? We're reclaiming our health. We're reclaiming our strength, our future. And so this is our time to walk in it, okay? It's our time to walk in it. And so I want to acknowledge and congratulate all of you who've been persevering and hitting that CV monthly. And last month is no different. We have Kathleen Weathersby, Tracy Bolton, Dr. Betty Smith, Anthony Morris, Margaret Wright, Reva Dabney, Cherie Edfinger, Fatima Horn, Ma Mitchell, Ernestine Davis, Elizabeth Ann Thompson, Bernadine Kirkland, Brenda Jones, Michael Newsom, Kenneth Elam. Oh my goodness, you guys are showing up and showing out. Let's go out today and spread the word. Yes, 10% off, $50 and higher. Over $150 is 15%. Plus at $150, you get the Hemp MD and you get the 4-pack of gummies. Because the 2025 vision for Akana is clear: health, wealth, freedom, and legacy for every life we touch. We are moving forward. We are not looking back. Join our rebound call. We got our hairs in today, our diamond factory tomorrow. And with that being said, we want each and every one of you to have an Akana day.
Melissa,
we're going to see you at the top.
Melissa, can you hear me?
I can.
I just want to say, you guys started the cleanse? Because I'm starting mine today. You didn't talk about the cleanse. Did you guys start the cleanse?
We started ours on Saturday. Yes. I started mine and Tracy started hers. But for those of you starting it today, congratulations. But yes, Cherry, some of us are already started. I know Dr. Betty did a great call Thursday working with the group. But appreciate that shout out. For those of you who haven't started yet, definitely don't let today go by without you starting your cleanse. So appreciate that, Terry.
You're welcome.
Yep. Okay. Well, good stuff, guys. Well, it looks like we've covered it all. And so with that being said, we're going to see you at the top, the very top, the tip top. Make it a great day.